Go ahead and
Richard had
start the public hearing. We'll go ahead and call it to order. It's for the fiscal year 2025-26 tax levies. And my understanding, we're not making any changes, is that correct, Mr. Barton?
Correct. All of our proposed tax rates are exactly the same that we have this current year. We're not proposing any changes at all.
Okay. And if anyone would like to call in public comment, number is 276-333-0357.
Mr. Chair, if I could, while we're waiting on any comment, I'll share, of course, as I said before, our tax levies are no proposed changes. Our current real estate rate is 52 cents per $100. Mobile homes are the same, 52 cents per $100. Merchant's capital is $10.50 per $100, and it's assessed at 10% of the reported value. Personal property is $1.85 per $100. And machinery and tools is $1.85 per $100. So again, no changes from the current taxes that are currently in place.
Okay.
Sure different than last year.
Yeah. It's the same.
We got one, Richard brought us
You got
one.
one? You got one?
I don't have one. I like to look at it.
Robert, you got copies?
Oh, pretty country. Oh, goodness sakes, pretty country. Look at that. Huh. I don't know where that's at. Well, it looks like downtown. Goodness, we could do that to a strip job, wouldn't that be wonderful? You know, where is it? In Bristol, they're fighting over the tax rate. It went up, so they raised it up. So their assessment went way up.
Russell told me they's having time with theirs too.
Steve today,
Bristol?
he was telling me.
Do what?
Steve was talking about that today at the regional jail meeting.
Yeah, said they's having time.
Well, their assessment of their houses went way up.
It's the same
Same
as
thing we
ours.
did with last year, so.
Well,
We went through it
was
last
it,
year.
is it Bristol? I
I'm not sure.
saw
I've
it
not
on the
really heard.
news.
Bristol didn't reduce theirs.
Well, give the people. Well, what's also there's something about somebody, they're getting sued.
I don't know, I don't keep up with
Do you watch, I watch 11 o'clock news.
it. Sometimes I think of it and sometimes I don't. See, Will sneaked in on us.
I did.
Slipped right in here, didn't it?
Yeah,
I think it's important that the people in this county know that we lowered the tax rate because the assessed value went up. It was 60 cents per hundred, now it's 52.
Yes.
Yeah.
You guys already started?
Yes, we're in public comment on the tax levies. If you have anything, any comment you'd like to make or anything.
Actually, what I came here for was, Last month, it was proposed an ordinance we put out against other ambulance companies coming into Nixon County.
Right, we can't really talk about that right now. We're in this public hearing here, but there's no action going to be taking place on that at tonight's agenda or anything, so.
All I came with was armed with information to show you guys what was being proposed.
You can do it at public comment tonight. You can do it at public comment, when we get down to public comment on a regular board meeting,
Mhm.
you can do it then.
Which is only the fifth one down, so it's not like you have to wait
It's not,
long.
you won't have to wait long after we get through these public hearings. These are just things that we have to do, we don't have any calls on or anything. I make a motion that we close the one to the, real estate rates right now.
Okay.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to close the one on the real estate tax levies. All in favor?
Aye.
As well. Call the next public hearing to order.
He was looking for somebody.
This is on the ordinance moving the Sand Lake voting precinct. We're gonna have to move it due to the flood that happened. It flooded the gathering place. So we're gonna try to move it to the town hall in Hayside.
Correct.
We would like to make a public comment on that. The number to call in, again, is 276-333-0357.
I don't have much choice, do you?
No, we're out of places to move.
Mr. Chair, we're hoping this will be it's a permanent move, but we're hoping it's still gonna be temporary, 'cause there's a new town hall under construction. We're hoping, that we can go through the community center as well, and that we'll have a better place with better parking and stuff, for future elections
Yeah.
on this. But this was our best viable option, speaking with Ms. Deal at the registrar's office, and, you being the Sand Lake District Supervisor, we've looked at what our options are, and it seemed like the
We're
best
very
option for
limited
now.
where we could
yeah.
go.
Yeah.
What
I
about that?
apologize to the voters for the changes. We've had multiple changes in recent years. I apologize for the confusion with them. We've just been forced in some cases with buildings being bought out by the Corps, the school, then the bank building, and
Seems like we've had to vote a different place every election.
really
People
has been
will
the
get
past few
confused
years.
where to go to vote, ain't they?
Yeah, they are, but
Mhm.
you just don't have no choice.
No, we're out of,
What about that place down there beside Stone Mountain?
We've talked with them before.
They don't wanna do it?
No, they're willing to work with us, but.
I mean, I remember they had a large room in there.
Right, there's a large room when you first go in. We've talked to Richard and talked to some others, some residents and voters in that area, and they feel like, town hall's a better option than that
Parking's
at this
better
time,
down
so.
there.
Is that what you heard, Mr.
yeah, that's
Thacker?
what I understand.
In town hall building, yeah. I was down there Friday.
We tried to survey every available option that we had and then try to find the best option on those, so.
Now, the current town hall being bought out by the Corps, is that?
It is, and it was under construction, and of course, once that was built, the Corps is actually doing the work, they're constructing the new one that will be torn down, so. And I honestly don't know the timeline, I'm not involved in the project, but I would assume by next election.
Friday, and I went with
Yeah, I
her.
know her.
Yeah, she used to come up with the show. I don't have any feelings. I've been to it. Was that Teresa's? What? I don't know, that's Teresa's one.
Some of them are.
I didn't know. Albert. He's in his class again.
You must be doing good with that class, Sid.
He had 12 in it last time I talked.
That's wonderful.
They had a
One more time, the number to call in is 276-333-0357. If anybody would like to make a
Canyon
public
Road.
comment on the ordinance moving the Sand Lake voting precinct.
Mr. Chairman, if we don't have any comments, I'd make a motion, we go ahead and close that one also.
Got a motion to close the public hearing. Do I hear a second?
I'll second
Motion and a second, all in favor?
it.
Aye as well. We'll adjourn this one, and our next meeting will start at 6 o'clock. Public hearing to order. This is the Community Development Block Grant. You wanna give us a little background on that, Mr. Barr?
Sure, well, thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the board. If you'll recall, we talked about this, we had a public hearing last month as well, and Cumberland Plateau had said that they had to advertise it in a different way. We'd have to have an additional meeting or additional public hearing this month. But basically, after the floods, DHCD opened up in February 15th. DHCD had opened up an urgent need application. It's basically the same as a block grant, like is going on with the Trammell project right now. But some of the things, we thought we could apply for, we learned we couldn't. But one thing that we were able to apply for, and what some other counties around us are applying for, is permanent mount generators at some of the pump stations on the PSA's water tanks. And so I've been working closely with Mr. Baker at the PSA, and he's got some pricing back to us on that this past week. We're applying for 9 permanent mount generators at the pump stations in the most remote locations to get to. That way in future events, whenever we have power outages and things like we did before, we can still try to maintain water to these areas. I know the PSA has some portable generators they can take around and move from place to place, but they selected the 9 most difficult places to get to do the permanents. So that's what we're applying for, and Cumberland Plateau is working with us on that, doing the application on our behalf. So I want to thank their staff for all their support in this. Debbie's doing a great job with us.
Good. Okay, we have, this is open to public comment. The number again is 276-333-0357. If anyone would like to call in.
You don't pay to pay that water. They got a generator down there, right up the four-way on it.
They've got some portable,
I think
but
this is
it's hard to
big.
get to some of them when it floods.
Yeah,
And that's why they're trying to get the permanent
I
ones.
think it's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
People won't be without water at least.
Mm.
They may not have hot water, but
At least you got water.
got water,
Flush your commode.
flush the most.
Yep.
I remember that time we had that big snow, we had, we were only 2 or 3 weeks
Yeah,
without
boy,
water,
long
electricity.
time.
We went to Johnson City to take a shower.
This is used for kitchen water. It's not they use to flush your commode, not flush it out. That's how you need more.
I had laundry piled up so fast after they took them up, it
We
took
went
me,
to the laundry, more so.
piled up, we just loaded in the utility room and shut the door. But when I had to wash it all, it was a job. Yeah, I saw where that fire out there on Canyon, where, what's her name, Rhonda lives out there?
I don't know who's it was.
I think it was Rhonda. Whopper, no. She remarried, didn't
Yeah, I think she did. I forgot her last name.
she? It was,
But they was raised on getting rid of
oh,
fire.
she and she been in one time.
That was a workshop.
She works for that shop.
Last month, last month. Right there's the minutes. What's in the minutes? First to approve that. It's in our minutes.
Later.
Well, Jamie Kruger is online. And I thought, well, why is that there? But we haven't approved it until we approve it tonight. So I went back and there's
6 o'clock this Anybody wanna make a motion to adjourn this?
I make a motion, we adjourn this public hearing on the block grant.
I'll second it.
I've got a motion second to adjourn the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, well. We'll call the regular meeting to order. Mr. Barton, care to lead us in prayer?
Sure, be glad to. Let's bow our heads. Most kind and gracious Heavenly Father, we come before you once again this evening, Lord, just asking your blessing upon our meeting, Lord, and asking your blessing upon our county, Lord. Lord, just be with our supervisors tonight, Lord. I pray that you give them wisdom, Lord, as they make decisions that affect the county, Lord. Lord, be with our residents, those that have been impacted by the recent fires, Lord, those that are out there protecting, keeping everyone safe, the firefighters, the forestry department, the rescue squads, Lord. We just ask your blessing on them to keep them safe, Lord. Lord, just watch over us all, we pray. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Pledge. Call and lead us.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we got the approval of the minutes. Everyone had a chance to review those. Any discussion?
If there's no question about them, I make a motion, we do all three of them at the same time. We've all had a chance to read them, and I make a motion that we approve all of them at the same time. Is that okay if we do that?
Yes.
That is.
I'll second it. The motion is second to approve the minutes from the budget workshop 1, public hearing, and the regular meeting in March 25th. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, well. And everybody had a chance to look over the agenda.
Chair, we have one agenda addition left before you, item 6E2. That's a resolution from yesterday's Coal and Gas Road Improvement Committee meeting. And, well, this came from that as well. We were made aware there were some projects that were previously funded that were too large to be done with the funding appropriated for them. So we have to do a resolution to ask that those be canceled and refunded. So we'd like to add that to the agenda.
Okay.
It's 6E.
What'd you say?
It'd be 6E2.
6E2.
Before you there on your desk, Lane. So,
Separate sheet there. Do we have a motion to including that for the agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented with adding the resolution that's been brought before us tonight.
I second it.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, well. All right, the consent agenda. We
Sure,
need
he's
to,
not here tonight either, is he?
no, he's not. One of the deputies is on the way. He got turned around, but he'll be here shortly.
We can take all those at the same time then if the sheriff's not here to give his report. I make a motion that we approve all of them, and then if anybody wants to make a comment on any of them, they could, but I make a motion that we approve all of them at the same time.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that or anything? All in favor?
Aye.
Ayes, well. All right, that takes us down to public comment. We'll take comments from anyone in the audience that'd like to step up. We'll give the attorney will give you the guidelines for the public comment.
Upon recognition by the chairman, the speaker shall address himself to the chairman, and if at the conclusion of his remarks, any member of the Board of Supervisors desires further information, the member will address the speaker only with permission of the chairman. Time limits. There shall be a time limit for each individual speaker of 3 minutes. A representative of a group may have up to 5 minutes to make a presentation. The representative shall identify the group at the beginning of his or her presentation. Speakers are not permitted to donate time to other speakers. No speaker's time shall be extended except by unanimous consent or a 2/3 vote of the board members present. Prohibited conduct. Persons appearing before the board will not be allowed to campaign for public office, promote private business ventures, use profanity or vulgar language or gestures, use language which insults or demeans any person, and/or when directed at a public official or employee when not related to his or her official duties. However, citizens have the right to comment on the performance, conduct, and qualifications of public figures, make frivolous statements, interrupt other speakers, engage in behavior that intimidates others, or address the board on issues that do not concern the services, policies, or affairs of the county.
The number to call in on, again, is 276-333-0357. If you'd like to make a public comment, anyone from the audience would like to make a public comment, step up to the podium.
You can, yeah. Step up here.
Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen of the board, my name is Eddie Kaiser. I am the owner of KDK Transport and ProMed Ambulance Company. Last month, a resolution was brought before you all, or proposed, that an ordinance be put in Dickinson County of not having other agencies called outside of Dickinson County, that the Dickinson County agencies should be called first. And that statement during that resolution, there was a lot of misleading things there that I felt that was being presented to you guys. All I'm here to do is clear the air on that. And what was a statement that was very, very bothersome to me was that that the hospitals were not doing their job, that Dickinson County Hospital was calling other agencies first. Well, that's not true. There's an actual algorithm that the hospitals use. My agency has stepped up with their availability in order to service Dickinson County Hospital. What I wanted to bring to you guys was the actual list from what it used to be before my agency, as we started out, to where we worked ourselves into, to what it is now. Dickinson County, the hospitals are still calling Clintwood Rescue and DCAS first before they call us. The reason that we end up, and my company ends up getting the trips that they do, is because those two agencies literally don't have availability at the time. Last month, my agency, which is a private company, ran 147 calls out of Dickinson County. Now, that was 147 times that those agencies didn't have anything. My pledge, what I have put out there to these hospitals, that if you're utilizing us, is that we will have 24/7 coverage. Holidays, weekends, it doesn't matter. And I've lived up to that. That is why my company has moved up the list. Now, these hospitals don't pay us. We get the person's insurance. That's how we are paid. The person's insurance pays us directly. The hospital is just setting the arrangement up. And the statements that were made last month did not reflect that. So what I brought today was just this list to show you how it's actually done versus what it used to be, and to say that this ordinance is not needed, because there will be a time that when they're going to have to call us directly because of the equipment we have or something that's going to be there. It may be just because we're closer than what some of the other agencies are. They may have to call us first for whatever reason. So if we go in here and we put handcuffs on that hospital, that's actually costing more time to whatever the needs are possibly there. Now, I just felt like you guys needed to see this information before you made any kind of resolution or any decision, and that's all I'm here for. Thank you.
What'd you
Thank
say
you.
the name of your company was?
KDK Transport is one company that I have, which is my non-emergency transport, and ProMed Ambulance is the emergency transport.
And they're located where?
In Coburn, right, you know where Food City is in Coburn?
Yeah.
Straight across the street from it. We're on 11600 Norton Coburn Road.
Do you have, Mr. Chairman, may I ask a
Yes.
question? Do you have, equipment that they don't have in order to transport certain types of patients?
Yes, we do. We are one of the only few agencies in Virginia that have 2 bariatric trucks. C-Trans is my major competition. They have 40-plus trucks. They have 1 bariatric truck. I have 2. We have state-of-the-art equipment. All of our stretchers are actually bariatric equipped. We have all new ventilators, Lucas machines, stair chairs. We have just about everything that any other agency would have, and maybe in some cases a little bit more. So there's other reasons that they call us. A lot of the bariatric trips, they don't even give anybody else a call because 90% of the agencies around here, and I could be wrong on this statistic, but from my understanding, my agency is the only agency from here to Charlottesville that has 2 bariatric trucks.
Well, I think Mr. McPeak is over there, isn't he? Wasn't he the one that made that statement?
He is, and I have a meeting coming up first week in May with hospital regarding this. We've been in contact, and I am looking at everything, so.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Would you all like for me to leave this with you, or?
It'd be great if you wouldn't
You
care to share
leave
those
it
with
with
us.
our clerk here.
Folded pages are the new list, which shows us.
Oh, they didn't know that.
This one is the old one. So, of course,
Anyone else public
Dixon County
comment?
is on the last page. I left this to show it was
Give people a chance to call in one more time, 276-333-0357. It's the number you can call if you'd like to call in on the phone.
Bariatric and what about that woman that here, what's the name of that place? It surprises me that they run 147 trips out of here. And I don't understand. But do you
Glenwood's
do?
been down an ambulance, they've just had 1
They're
ambulance.
down to 1 ambulance.
Is that the bariatric?
And then they
Bariatric?
have to
No, they
have
don't
that
have-
They don't have
EMG
any
at all times, too, and they
bariatric?
don't have.
Clintwood Rescue doesn't. I'm not sure about DCAS, what they have, so,
But Clintwood Rescue has one?
no.
They don't have a bariatric? I'm not sure exactly I understand what that means. Is that where you have a wound or something, and what does a bariatric ambulance?
For people that are obese, so people of a certain weight limit, it gets quite heavy. Our regular standard stretchers cannot maintain them. It's kind of like why we ask for power cots with the wings and stuff on them, so we can be able to transport patients up to about 700-800 pounds and be able to get them to the hospital. A lot of ambulances and stretchers are not set up for bariatrics, so we have to reach out for other agencies like KDK or ProMed or other locations to come transport these patients.
Well, I don't believe they had 147 obese patients they needed to.
No, just in general, the
That's
calls.
general
they were on.
transport.
Yeah, that was,
So
Pardon?
obesity typically starts about 300 pounds goes
Well-
up. So the larger the patient, the harder it
There
is
you
to transport them in
there's
a
a,
regular ambulance.
David.
That's what a bariatric
It
ambulance
says
is.
here that
Well,
it
yeah,
is
or you have a
designed to,
geriatric stretcher, which is
transport
the power cots that we carry,
and bariatric.
without the have wings on the sides. And that's what they offer.
I've heard bariatric chambers or
this says BEAR is the name of the stand
That's a little different.
for bariatric abdominal
Any other comments,
restraints.
Mr. Chair?
You want?
Want to read the number again for?
Yeah, we'll read the number one more time, it's 276-333-0357 for public comment. Anyone else from the audience like to make a public comment? No comment?
well, that's right. What he's saying. Why don't they have one? That would have been. Larry, maybe you can find out going on?
I've been working on, I've got information I can share once you get a little further along, so.
I wanna make a motion to close public comment.
If
Nobody on
there's
the
no
phone?
more public comments, I make a motion that we go ahead and close public comment.
Here a second.
Second.
A motion to second to close public comment, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Now we'll move on to new business. Start with the appointments. First one is the Cumberland Plateau Planning District Commission.
Mr. Chair, I have talked with Matthew Dingus, because I think I submitted his name the last time. And, he is sort of willing to serve, but he would also like not to serve if, if I could find, he said if you can find somebody else or submit somebody else's name, he would appreciate that. So for Matthew Dingus, I would like to submit the name of Michael Owens. And I talked to Dana shortly this evening. She's willing to serve again. And
Richard's
I've not
always-
talked to the other two. though.
Richard's always will, and he's
Yeah.
there every time.
Yeah,
Patsy
he
was
is.
at the last one too.
Matthew was at the last one.
He just said that he would really, he said he hadn't been able to attend some with work,
I don't think
and
he's
that he
there.
would just
Too, was he? Patsy was there.
like not to come back on.
But I haven't asked Patsy. Patsy just went on it, didn't she? So
She did recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was
I
there
agree
the
with
last
Mama
one.
Nick
she was
Patsy.
there at the
Yeah.
last one we had.
I would make a motion that we keep Richard, Patsy, and Dana, and if Matthew wants off, replace him with the Michael Owens if no one else has another name to submit.
I'll second it.
I don't know which Michael.
Do we
He,
need to do those
he's
one
the
at a time,
coach
or?
that teaches up at Ridge.
Yeah, I think we probably should get approval either together as a block or, I mean, it doesn't have to be one at a time
Okay.
if it's by consensus, but.
You have any names, Chris?
No.
He appointed, can you appoint Patsy?
Yeah, I did.
And Dana lives in my district, and Matthew Dingus lives.
You don't want them by
It's
districts.
not, I know, but I think it's fair.
They're not appointed by districts.
So what are you saying?
So
that
if we go ahead and do it the way she made the motion,
Yeah.
You can.
Okay.
It's technically a nomination for those four.
we got a motion and I made the second to do
I'll
that.
second it.
Okay, you can second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well.
These are just 1 year, and then we have to reappoint them.
Yeah. Got, the Lonesome Pine Library Board of Trustees. I talked to, Vicky this evening. She would like to be reappointed. I'll make a motion to reappoint Vicky on that Lonesome Pine Library Board of Trustees.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. All right, now we got the Mountain Empire
I guess we need to
Community
vote on
College
it.
Board of Directors.
We did, we voted, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we did.
Mountain Empire.
I think Dana is willing to serve another term on that, Mountain Empire Community College, and I will make a motion to, leave her on there.
I'll second. All in favor of leaving Dana on the Mountain Empire Community College Board of Directors? Aye as well. And now we've got Keep Southwest Virginia Beautiful, and Derek Dotson is the person that's on it at this time.
Yeah, Bo works with litter control, and I spoke with him
That's
earlier.
who
He is
used to
interested
put
in
on somebody
continuing,
that
so
can drive. And Bo's gonna do it again?
he is.
I make a motion that we, reappoint Derek for that position.
I'll second.
Okay.
A motion and second for Derek for stay on that board. All in favor?
Uh,
Ayes, well. Okay, now we're down to the, lease.
Thank you,
First
Mr. Chair. What you have before you in your board packet there is a letter and an updated lease agreement from Paramount Contura on a pond located on Tiller Fork on 88 Surface Mine. This is a 5-year extension from the original lease that was done. This will be the second renewal. It was done originally and then renewed once. They pay $6,000 each renewal for that. And, you know, Mr. Mullins on this, and they are interested in continuing this lease, so.
I make a motion that we extend the lease for another 5 years.
I'll second that motion. With a motion and second, extend the lease for another 5 years, all in favor?
Mr. Chair, can I ask one question?
You
about
can.
that quick? How much property do we own up there around that?
I would have to pull that land card.
They're not leasing the whole tract?
It's not a huge amount, I don't think, that we own up there. But without looking at the card, I'm not 100% sure on it, so. I can get that information for you, though.
Sorry, Chair.
Anything else? All right, we've got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
As well. Next is the Clinchco Missionary Baptist Church.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Smitty Harrison had reached out to me on this after our last meeting, and near their church is one of the homes, the Sawyer's home, that was purchased by the Corps of Engineers. Once the home was removed, of course, that land reverted back to the county, and the church is interested in leasing that from us, similar to what, you know, other churches have done for parking lots and things, but they're wanting to make like a little play area there, is my understanding. And we had drafted a lease for them for $1 a year, just a 1-year term like we've done with other churches. So just asking for the board's consideration on this.
The lease says that they'll keep it up and everything.
It does.
so-
I'll be responsible for the mowing and upkeep and everything.
Yeah, help
plus
us
the
too. I make a
insurance, so.
motion that we lease this piece of property to the Clinchco Missionary Church.
And I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Lease the property of the Clinchco Missionary Baptist Church. All in favor?
Aye.
As well. Got the contract change order for the Chip Mill Road paving project.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of course, this is an ongoing project from the Coal Road funds. There was money appropriated for this project, and this would still keep it within budget, but this is the last item that needs to be done on this. This would be Chip Mill Road that was taken in, you know, built to VDOT specs. And once you get past the rehab location, you know, we're terminating that road. And we had the gates that were there originally up at the, near the road, the yellow gates, and to get those reinstalled. And then actually going on down, there's a map included here that shows where it is. It's right down past the sewer plant. The road widens out. They're actually gonna have to add some bollards on each side of the gate to keep people from going around it at the same time. So we're asking for a $5,500 change order to our contract with McFall Excavating to get all that work done and taken care of, and that will finish out that project. So, and it is important we get those gates up. We had, of course, some vandalism at the former Skull House recently. Those gates were not up, and then the gate going down to the Skull House, so they were going around it, and our maintenance has had to come in and add some posts down there. So.
We have a motion on that change order.
I'll make that motion that we go ahead and do that change order. It's something we're gonna have to have done. And we're still within budget, right?
We are still within budget.
I'll second. We got a motion and a second on the contract change order for the Chip Mill Road paving project. All in favor?
Aye.
As well. And proclamation for the Older Americans Month 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Brian Beck from Appalachian Agency for Senior Citizens reached out and sent this to us recently. Each year, the board has always been very gracious in adopting a proclamation declaring May Older Americans Month. And this year, their theme is going to be Flip the Script, which highlights ways to transform social perceptions, conversations, and approaches related to aging. And they've requested that we did issue the attached proclamation as a way of honoring our older adults in Dickinson County. We can read this if you wish. I can read it, or you can read it for the record.
Go ahead if you want to. I've already clicked off of it.
All right. It says Older Americans Month 2025, a proclamation. Whereas May is Older Americans Month, a time for us to recognize and honor Dickinson County older adults and their immense contributions to the community. And whereas through their wealth of life experience and wisdom, older adults guide our younger generations and carry forward abundant cultural and historical knowledge. And whereas older Americans improve our communities through intergenerational relationships, community service, civic engagement, and many other activities. And whereas communities benefit when people of all ages, abilities, and backgrounds have the opportunity to participate and live independently. And whereas Dickinson County must ensure that older Americans have the resources and support needed to stay involved in their communities, reflecting our commitment to inclusivity and connectedness. And now, therefore, the Board of Supervisors of Dickinson County does hereby proclaim May 2025 as Older Americans Month. This year's theme, Flip the Script on Aging, focuses on transforming how society perceives, talks about, and approaches aging. We call upon all residents to join me in recognizing the contributions of our older citizens and promoting programs and activities that foster connection, inclusion, and support for older adults. Dated this 22nd day of April 2025, Dickinson County Board of Supervisors, Richard Thacker, Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Since I'm the oldest one on the board, I appreciate this proclamation. I make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second.
Oldest than you.
All in favor? Aye as well.
And been on the board longer than anybody else.
5 terms.
Your first term, you rode a wagon over here, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. No, I rode a horse. She rode me. Oh.
You know, we appreciate you being on here as long as you have.
I
All right.
appreciate my people voting me in all these
There you go.
years.
Next resolution, the annual plan for the roads and bridges for July 1, 2025 through June 30th, 2026.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Of course, our clerk, Ms. Lyle, handed this out. Apologize, we didn't have it on your desk when you came up. But this is a meeting we just had yesterday with the Coal and Gas Road Improvement Advisory Committee. Of course, we had Alan Sumter, the residency administrator with VDOT, and Joey Mullins, the assistant residency administrator, in attendance, along with all committee members. Mr. Thacker as chair, A.C. Blevins, member from industry, Jeff Newberry, member of industry. And our budget, the anticipated collections is the same as last year, $2,850,500. But the thing different this year from what we've experienced in prior years, VDOT has always been good about bringing us projects and paving recommendations and things like that. But at this meeting, they said that with the flooding they've experienced in February, they've just been really covered up in looking at our projects and making the recommendations. They are asking that we do the majority of them in August. They want to come back with a meeting in August. And of course, the roads that you all turned in last year, they'd ask if you could prioritize them just to your single most important projects, and I'll provide that back to Mr. Mullins. But the only project that they had to add in here was the allocation of $100,000 in support of the Route 83 and Route 637 roundabout project. That's $100,000, and then funds to be allocated for future projects is $1,300,000. Of course, we have our same funding going to Visita. The Visita comes out of this pot of money, $712,500. Appropriation to the towns, that's $30,000 per town for their roads, gravel, whatever, 90,000. And then 534,375 for PSA in town of Clintwood for water projects in accordance with House Bill 1688. And then road stabilization fund, 40,000. Of course, we made a $10,000 increase on that during the budget process this year, going from 30,000 to 40,000. That's $8,000 per district for your gravel drain pipes, things like that. But like I said, the bulk of the projects are $1,400,000, and $1,300,000 of those are one to address in August on those. And then, of course, our next agenda item we'll get into with some old projects that's going to bring some money back, that's going to increase this amount this year. But we're just asking approval of this resolution that was passed yesterday at the Cold Road meeting. Of course, I'll answer any questions you have, or with the roundabout project, I guess to elaborate a little more on the roundabout project. That is a smart scale project. And so, thankfully it's not a revenue sharing thing with the smart scale. Then, that was the most competitive project we've had for a while, and it's been on here for, Rhonda, what's it been, 2-3 years, I guess we've been
5 years.
on this. It's been a little while, but they will be constructing a roundabout at the four-way intersection, and that will help tremendously with the traffic control, especially when school's taking up and letting out. With the project, there's been some issues with some of the utilities, with the gas line, some things like that has come up that the federal monies that's in that can't help with. But with the Coal Road Fund, it is something that we can do on that. So that's the $100,000 just help some of those overrun costs.
You wanna make a motion to approve it?
Yes, sir, I'll make a motion to approve it. I like to see it, I bet about, but I have one question. What are the other projects?
They're these right here.
Funds to be allocated for
These
future.
is the ones that they're $1 million?
No, that's potential. This $1,300,000 are gonna come back in August. Is that what they said, August, Richard? I think they
August,
wanted to
yeah.
schedule a meeting in August, and I've got to send a date out, some dates.
So they got $1
But to
million
come back
for
and decide those projects. Normally, we have all of our projects at this point, but they said with the flooding, they have not had time to pull things together for us on that, so.
So that's $1,300,000.
$1,300,000, but after our next agenda item, it is gonna, once everything happens with that, it's actually gonna increase that number when we come back in August.
So the potential for these roads here to be paved is,
Some of those, like I said,
Just some.
Joey asked yesterday in the
but
meeting,
you,
if
we
I could
asked
ask,
us to pick out one?
he asked me to ask each supervisor to narrow them down to their single most important project that you had, and they would look at that and give us, some pricing and recommendations. And Richard, correct me if I'm wrong on any of this, is all just at yesterday's meeting, that's what was shared with us, so.
Yeah, that's correct. Let's pick out of the list of ones that we had on there, pick out the number one priority that you have in your district. So we've got a motion by Rhonda to pass this resolution,
I'll second the motion.
and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. All right, and the next item on the agenda is one that was added, the item number 6E2, cancellation of the CSD projects.
And thank you, Mr. Chair. Of course, during this meeting, you'd be grateful for your chairman, Mr. Thacker. He had a lot of difficult questions for VDOT. One of those, he was asking a lot of questions about a project at Sand Lake that was approved many years ago that work hasn't been done. And from what we understand, the scope of the work was way more than what the funding was in order to do that project at Sand Lake. There's some road widening on that. I think it was about a $500,000 project at Splash Dam. Anybody said Sand Lake Splash Dam, but that Splash Dam on that back in 2019. And during that conversation, Joey Mullins had shared there were some other projects in the county that had been funded and agreed upon that were not feasible once they looked at it with the costs and things and had been funded. Now, since I've been here with the Coal Road, the process must have changed before I came, because the way it's worked since I've been here, once you approve the resolution that you just approved, with the projects on it, we don't have all the projects on this one, but once the projects are approved, then VDOT will get that work completed, if it's a paving overlay or whatever the project might be, and then they'll send an invoice to us with the UPC number, and you'll see on this resolution there's UPC numbers on it. That's how they identify the projects, and then we will pay VDOT for that after the project's done. Well, back before, whenever they changed their process, it used to be when you done the budget, you would submit the money to them to do the projects within that. But there are some older projects that did not get completed and some money. We need to ask that those projects get canceled because there's not sufficient funding to do those, and to return those unspent funds back to the county on that. So once we get those funds back and get a proper accounting of everything, then at our August Coal Road meeting, we'll go in and make whatever adjustments need to be, and there'll be more available funds for some of these projects, hopefully, that you have in your district that you're wanting to get done, and hopefully we can get those set and move forward. But they said we have to formally request that those projects, the underfunded projects, be canceled, and then ask that, you know, any funds paid towards those be refunded to us.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask Larry a question?
Yes.
These projects they have, there's 3 here, is that right?
There's 4 actually, but
4
there's 2
actually.
projects for Rock Lick. One at Splash Dam, one for Brush Creek Road drainage, and 2 different projects at Rock Lick. And they informed us at the meeting yesterday that all those were underfunded with what they had estimated the projects as being at the time they were considered. They thought they could do them, but then once they looked at them and got closer to it, they didn't have funds and couldn't find funds to complete the project. So right now, they're kind of on hold. So, you know, if these are projects, I think we'd have to go back and look at these projects again, if they're viable projects that we'd want to do, and get new estimates and see if we'd want to allocate additional money to these projects or to any other projects you may have in your district. So
these projects here, what was the total amount that they estimated it to be?
well, some work has been done in some of these, but you're going to have several $100,000 coming back. Joey estimated $350,000 on the.
We come back to the Gold Road.
Yes, on the 3 projects, what he estimated yesterday.
So you need a motion to approve this resolution?
To approve this resolution so that we can send that.
If I remember correctly, they have to have all their funding for a project before they start a
They
project.
do have to have all funding in place for it before they can move forward. with
Before
it,
they
so
can move forward, and
Correct.
these are some that they did not have.
They did not,
the
they did not
money to
piece all the
move
funding
forward with.
together. Correct.
Do you know which one is on Brush Creek? Is that,
This is from 2019. It was funded in 2019, so I'm not familiar with what that project is. It's just called Brush Creek Road drainage.
I'd say it's a lot to do with where y'all have so much flooding down there, to make it more.
yeah, I mean, that,
But again, we can get the details and ask them to re-estimate some of these to see, you know, if it could still be a viable project if we added more funds to
so
it.
if we cancel these projects, we can reintroduce the same
To
project.
reintroduce the same projects to be revalued and see if we can fund this.
When is the next coal meeting?
I
You
missed
said
this
We're
one.
gonna get set in August. They'd ask us for some dates in
August.
August.
Okay.
What day in August?
We don't have it set yet. As soon as we get it set, I'll do like I did this last time and share it out with you all, so.
I forgot it, I didn't put it in my calendar.
I would like to come to those.
What if the cancellation of these just I mean,
You can add them back to this list.
yeah, but what if some of these that's being, should have priority over what's on this?
Yeah, I'm pretty hesitant about canceling.
Well, they're not moving right now. If you let them sit there, they're gonna hold your money and it's gonna sit there and it ain't gonna move, so.
Yeah, because
They're
they've done,
underfunded and they
They're
can't
underfunded,
start
it has to
the
be canceled.
project.
they've done been
Projects
holding
can't be
it 6
The
started.
years
money will
and
just
done
sit there
nothing.
until it,
Well, they may have done something, you said.
Yeah,
Right, some of these, there could've been some work done.
excuse me, I did say that wrong. Yeah.
But we don't know. Or
If you wanna
Richard, do you
exclude the
know?
Brush Creek one, you're more than welcome to exclude that project from that and cancel the others. They can just hold the money till we can.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the other districts, you know, what their issues were, but the one on Brush Creek's becoming very hazardous, especially in the wintertime. So somebody's gonna have to fix it sooner or later. You can't have a creek running across the highway.
Right, but I think we're gonna have to ask them to rescope that, and it's gonna have to be reevaluated, because it won't move at the state it's at.
It's
right
not
now.
gonna move on this list, right?
Correct, that's what we were
Yeah.
informed yesterday. They advised us we need to pass a resolution asking them to cancel and refund these projects, and then, you know, we can re-look at them projects, have them to rescope them, so.
I worked down there at the health department for 30-some years, and water running out there to the health department, down that drainage, down through there about where you live. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is. It's becoming fairly hazardous right there, especially in the
During the
winter.
flood, the
It's
whole-
The ditches
undermining
need
the
to be
road
cleaned
some
out.
too,
February
but
15th, it was all underwater there.
Why can't
it might
they,
be a better option to cancel this and then reintroduce it, and then you have an
I see why you can't
opportunity
clean
to
out
make
the
another
ditches.
argument.
Correct.
you
I
know,
think you get
for
more
that.
traction if you did that.
You could
Yeah.
always add it in that 6-year plan also,
We
that we do
can,
yearly.
we can, and that's coming up, that'll be at our next meeting. That's the reason they want to do Coal Road this time. They said they wanted to separate, they didn't want them both, they were too confusing with the overlap, and they wanted
Right.
to do it at our May meeting, the 6-year plan.
so,
But I-
when do
but
they,
indi-
sorry, Larry, go ahead.
No, but they'd indicated as far as, with the 6-year plan, we talked briefly about that. They're looking, but they don't feel like we've got, 6-year plan, we're at a disadvantage in far southwest Virginia on the 6-year plan when we're competing with everybody else when it comes to traffic counts, accidents, things like that. They suggested a revenue sharing on some of these projects if we want to look at. We'd be better off doing a revenue sharing application. And then, like even the Brush Creek tracks, perhaps a revenue sharing instead of all Coal Road. If you do a revenue sharing, then you can use Coal Road to match it to get state funds to go with that, to go hand in hand and help. The project will score better if you've got this money to go with it on some of the bigger projects. So
Okay.
It really baffles me why they can't go down Brush Creek there, a fourth of a mile and clean out the ditches. I know that don't cost no $1,000,000, 300,000. Clean out the ditches and replace some drainage pipes, and they would have good drainage down through there. I'm excluding Bearpin, I know that floods, but
right,
I'm talking about from the intersection down toward about where Chris lives.
right. There's a lot of flooding in that area. You're
Yeah,
correct. There's
I
a lot
don't
of.
understand why
lot
they
of
can't
issues,
clean out
right.
the ditches.
I think we should have to cancel these and ask that they
Yeah,
get
that's
refund,
beside
and then
the
we have to
point.
reevaluate them. Perhaps.
Did they indicate to you when they were gonna start construction on the roundabout?
August.
August is gonna go out to bid in August.
Go out to bid in August.
It'll go out to bid in August.
I know, I saw the maps on those things, and I see where they have put where the gas line crosses the road.
Right.
Are they gonna move that gas line?
Yes, the gas line has to be relocated, and the water line has to be relocated before construction.
Yeah, can start, yeah. On this resolution, I'll make a motion that we pass this resolution and cancel those projects at this time.
I'll second that. We have a motion to cancel this projects that's on this resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, well.
Looks like we gotta schedule a public hearing.
A public hearing on the,
6-year plan.
6-year plan here for the tax levies, 2025, 2026.
Mr. Chair, if you don't mind, I'll read those rates again. Again, there's no proposed changes. That's the exact same rates we have right now. The real estate rate is 52 cents per $100. Mobile homes is 52 cents per $100. Merchants capital is $10.50 per $100, and that's at 10% of the reported or assessed value. Personal property is $1.85 per 100, and machinery and tools is $1.85 per 100. Again, no changes from our current rates.
I move that we adopt those tax levies that you just read.
I second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Adopt the 2025, 2026 tax levies.
No increase.
No increase. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Alright. Next is the, adoption of the, voting precinct change in Sanilac.
Again, Mr. Chair, that would be moving the polling place to the Hayside Town Hall located at 322 Main Street, Hayside, Virginia.
Mr. Thacker, I'll make that motion for you, that you have no other place right now. to move that to, but due to the flooding, and I make a motion that we move that voting place to the town hall.
I second it.
All right, a motion and a second to move the voting precinct for Sand Lake to the town hall in Hayside. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. Scheduled public hearings. Proposed secondary six-year plan for fiscal years 26 and 27 to 2030 and 2031. May 27th, 2025 at 5:30 PM.
Yes, sir.
I make a motion that we schedule that public hearing, for 5:30 on our next board meeting in May.
I'll
May
second it,
27th.
and I'll second it.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Community Development Block Grant Urgent Need Number 2 for May 27th, 2025 at 5:45 PM.
Yes, that'll be the second public hearing that follow up from the one we had today, so.
I'll make a motion that we schedule that, Community Development Block Grant Urgent Need Number 2 public hearing for May 27th.
I'll second the motion.
All right, have a motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Takes us down to closed meeting.
I make a motion that we go into closed meeting pursuant to Virginia Code Section 2.2-3711A 1 and 7, A Section 2.2-3711A 1 personnel, all departments including solid waste. B Section 2.2-3711A 7 consultation with legal counsel, and 1 probable litigation.
I second the motion.
All right, we have a motion and second, close the meeting, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. We're closed. back to order.
I'd like to make a motion that whereas the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors has convened a closed meeting on this date pursuant to the affirmative recorded vote and in accordance with the provisions of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act, and whereas 2.2-3712, the Code of Virginia requires a certification by the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors that a closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now therefore be it resolved that the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that, to the best of each member's knowledge, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification resolution applies, and only such public business matters as identified in the motion convening the closed meeting was heard, discussed, or considered by the Dickinson County Board of Supervisors.
I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. We'll do a roll call vote. Mr. Hall?
Aye.
Ms. Kaiser?
Aye.
Ms. Williams?
Aye.
Ms. Lush?
Aye.
And I also.
What was that guy's name?
Robert Lee.
Who's gonna make the motion?
I don't care. You're down to number 10.
Yeah, we have any matters coming out of the closed meeting?
I'd like to make a motion that we offer the maintenance position that had been advertised and interviewed for to a Robert Lee.
I'll second the motion.
Is that okay?
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye as well. We down to supervisor comments. Do we have anything else out of closed meeting? Anybody? Okay. Supervisor comments, Mr. Hall, you wanna go ahead?
Just hope everybody had a great Easter and everybody's enjoying this nice warm weather that we're having. I'd like to thank the fire rescue. I hear sirens going off all the time. So we appreciate all the work that they do. The police force, all the town police, county police, they're very essential. So we greatly appreciate them. That's all I got.
Ms. Kaiser?
I'd just like to say same thing as Chris, that everybody had a good weekend. Remember the reason that we have Easter for the resurrection, and people got out and attended sunrise service. The fire and rescue, I think, has been up on Bear Ridge fighting a fire probably that lasted a day or so up there.
About 3 days.
Yeah, it's been pretty rough up there. Got a message from Larry Deal that he was not going to be able to be here. He was in Wise County for something this evening, but just when you got somebody that comes all the time and sits in the same seat, you miss them when that seat's empty. He's quiet, he don't, and that, but he's still. I just recognize that he's not here. And I don't know, I guess that's everything.
Ms. Will?
I too appreciate all the first responders
Yep.
and everything that they do. I know they said Clayton had been out, Hickman had been out 3 days on Bear Ridge. So I appreciate what they do. And also, I appreciate y'all passing the resolution for the elderly. That was a nice thing, and it was very, very accurate, you know, what we stand for and what we try to teach those that are younger than us. And I appreciate that. And as you get older, time flies. I mean, the older you get, the faster it goes, it seems like. And I appreciate all my board members, too, that we all get along good together, and it's I just appreciate each one of you. And appreciate Mr. Barton, what he did, Mr. Sturgill, and our clerk, and also our IT person. I appreciate what they all do to make everything go smooth.
What age starts the older citizens?
I think I'm qualified too.
Am I there yet?
You had a birthday, I noticed.
Well, I know I'm there.
Sorry, Rhonda.
Well, that's all right. I will, agree with everything all four of you said. I appreciate everybody that,
Appreciate our deputy.
yeah, Derek for being here tonight, and, Teresa and Adam, and, all of our, well, I hope everybody had a happy Easter, Resurrection Day, and, I think we should, I know Shanghai Nichols is very
Oh,
sick.
yeah.
Want to remember him in prayer. And I thank all of you, and Larry for his work and his intellect. Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful, spring is about ready to has sprung.
Got one more cold spell.
One more cold spell.
Blackberry winter?
Blackberry, no.
May the 10th.
I must be old.
I always heard you go barefoot after May the 10th.
They hadn't even let us go barefoot after May 1st. But we went by feet before then.
God bless
I guess it's
everybody.
my turn. I'll just echo the sentiments that the board has said. I agree with everything you all said. I hope everybody had a good Easter. I know I did. I enjoyed spending some time with my grandchildren, hiding eggs, and we don't want to forget the reason for Easter. We always try to remind our kids and grandkids of the reason, but I also want to thank Larry and Will and Teresa and Adam staying here with us. Sometimes the meetings go pretty quick, sometimes they go pretty late, but one thing I'd like to mention, at the beginning of each of our board meetings, we always have prayer and we have a pledge of allegiance. Me and Miss Willis has talked about this a couple of times. Every time I do the Pledge of Allegiance, it means a little more to me. When I see the troubles that's going on in the world today, we look at that flag and it really means something when we say the Pledge of Allegiance. Well, it's not just procedure. When you hold your hand over your heart and you recognize the flag and all the people that's died to protect that flag,
Amen, brother.
it means a lot. And I just want to thank all the board members for helping me get through this. Being the chairman of the board, I know I'm not perfect at it. I'm new at it. I'm still learning, but I do the best I can.
You're doing
Doing a
okay.
great job.
You're doing great.
All right.
I have to nudge you sometimes.
Yeah, I'm ready to do
I bet you're doing fine.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, second, all in favor?
Aye.
Ayes well. We're done.